Chew. You ever get that feeling that something just doesn't add up? Like, the math just ain't mathin'. Because lately, I've been looking real close at who's talking, who's quiet, and who suddenly all over the cameras again, in the Sister Wives family, and, trust me, there's a pattern here. Now, the word on the street, and this is coming directly from fans, Reddit posts, and even some people who used to work around the production, is that not everyone in this family is speaking out of love, loyalty, or closure. Some are speaking simply because the check cleared. Yes, I said that. Paid to speak. Now, before you roll your eyes, just hear me out. Because what I am about to share might just revolutionize the way you watch every single scene from this point forward. Let's begin here. A few months ago, one of the more reserved family members, someone who hardly appeared for the last 2 seasons, suddenly started appearing in interviews, podcasts, and on-camera confessionals. They weren't just sharing memories, they were narrating stories. Emotional, detailed, expertly timed stories that made headlines. And soon after that, TLC ordered another special episode. Coincidence, or part of the plan? Fans are now speculating no. They outright posting that some members are getting appearance fees just for showing up in new episodes or promos. One fan even chimed in, they're not spilling tea on the cheap. They're building a brand. And honestly, I kinda think so. Because let's be real, these people have bills, children, and homes to pay for, and TLC isn't a charity. With every minute they talk, someone's tallying up the dollars from that conversation. What's crazy is how selective it all seems. The ones who used to stay quiet, suddenly so chatty. The ones who used to spill everything, now mysteriously silent, only posting filtered family photos and nothing about the show. It's like everyone has their own little contract, their own playbook. Here, the kicker, one of the family members actually alluded in a live Q&A that they can't always say what they want. When asked why, they just laughed and said, let's just say, I signed something. Oh, you signed something. Interesting, because that means money is involved. Now, I'm not saying every word is scripted, far from it, but I am saying that when cash starts rolling in, the truth can start to bend. And that seems to be exactly what's happening. Stick with me, because we're about to get into who's really getting paid on. Why the ones staying quiet might be the true geniuses. But first, let me know in the comments. Do they deserve to be paid for talking about family drama? Or should some things just be left alone? Depending on your answer, your entire view of this family's truth could shift. So, remember how I mentioned the ones shouting the loudest are often the ones getting paid the most? Yeah, we're about to find out how deep that rabbit hole goes. Because once you start following the money, you start seeing the same names pop up every time the drama gets juicy. Every time there's a new episode, a new headline, or a new family bombshell who's right there doing interviews, podcasts, or exclusive sit-downs. It's the same 2 or 3 people every single time. Now, I'm not gonna name names just yet, but let's call them the talkers. The talkers are always ready with a story, always available for a quick chat, and always just emotional enough to make fans believe they're being vulnerable. Here's the thing the fans are catching on. On Reddit, one user wrote, at this point, I don't even know if they're venting or just reading a script TLC gave them. And another replied, well, if you had 4 kids and a mortgage, you'd read that script too. And let's be honest, that line stung. Because think about it, when you've got bills to pay, when your spouse isn't working full-time, and when your name alone brings in ad dollars for a reality show, you're gonna talk, even if it's about people you love. Now, according to production sources, and take this with a grain of salt, some family members are paid per episode anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000, depending on their screen time. Others, the ones who only pop up in promos or confessional-style interviews, might get a flat content fee. But here's the kicker. Some of the adult children, the ones who supposedly want nothing to do with the show anymore, they were apparently offered a revival contract to come back and speak their minds. Some said no, some didn't even answer. And then, 1 or 2 just started doing Q&As on Instagram. You see the pattern. They might not be cashing TLC checks directly, but the spotlight from those interviews, that's also monetizable. More views mean more followers, which leads to more brand deals. That's still cash. And honestly, if you're sitting at home with a platform and an audience begging for answers, are you really going to stay silent when there's a check on the table? Exactly. Fans aren't even mad about it. One person wrote, "They should get paid." Show, Cody and Robyn have been getting paid checks for years for doing absolutely nothing but dodging questions. And another fired back, "If the rest of them don't open their mouths, they'll be forgotten. This is their moment." It's like the family story has become an economy of opinions. Whoever speaks, gains. Whoever stays quiet, disappears. But that silence, oh, that silence could be more valuable than you realize. Because sometimes, the quiet ones aren't broke, they're just bound. In a bit, I'm going to explain the contract clause that has everyone wondering if some family members are actually prohibited from speaking out unless TLC gives the green light. Believe me, when you hear what's in that clause, it'll all make sense why some people suddenly went silent online. So before I go on, let me know in the comments, would you take the money and talk, or would you stay quiet for your family's sake? Because after this next part, you'll see that silence doesn't always mean loyalty. Sometimes it just means you're legally obligated. Okay. Now this part right here. This is where the pieces start to fit together. A little asterisk to asterisk perfectly. Because let me tell you, the quiet in this family is not random. It's calculated, it's scripted, and it's signed. Yep, I'm talking about the contract clause that allegedly prohibits certain family members from speaking too much, too soon, or too truthfully. And this isn't just fan fiction. Several insiders, podcasters, and even a former TLC production assistant have hinted at it. Apparently, there's a confidentiality and participation agreement that all adult family members were required to sign if they ever wanted to be on camera or even be mentioned by name in later episodes. Now here's the juicy part. That agreement doesn't just cover what they can say about the show, includes what they can say about each other. That means no unauthorized podcasts, no tell-all interviews, and no YouTube videos without getting clearance first. Essentially, if you want to talk about the family, TLC gets first dibs. 1. Redditors summed it up perfectly. No wonder some of them go quiet for a whole season and then pop back up when a new contract comes along. They're not quiet, they're cautious. And if that's the case, it makes so much sense. It explains why certain people stop posting, stop streaming, and stop responding to fan comments all around the same time filming starts. It also explains why others start sharing their truth only when a new season is about to drop. It's all about the timing. Then there's the rumor that some members, especially those with bigger social media followings, have solo contracts that let them earn side cash, but only if it doesn't conflict with the narrative continuity. In other words, you can't post something that contradicts what the show is selling. So, think about it. Imagine living your life but having to make sure it lines up with the TV version of your life. That's wild. And that's why, in theory, the few who still speak up, the talkers we discussed, may have renegotiated their contracts. Instead of silence, they have freedom to speak for a bigger paycheck. It's a fascinating game of strategy, and we're only scratching the surface. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this interesting, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives. See you next time. 4. Every person who signed up, showed up on camera, and deposited that TLC check. There were others who said, nope, not worth it. And that, right there, is possibly the strongest move anyone in this family has ever made. Let me set the scene. While the talkers were signing new deals, starting podcasts, and doing exclusive interviews, some of their siblings just quietly vanished. No reports, no comments. Just gone. And when people asked where they were, all they got was silence. But that silence began to speak volumes. It wasn't because they were shy or wanted to avoid drama. It was because they chose to leave behind a system they no longer trusted. A Reddit fan captured it best. You can see who's still in the TLC machine and who's done. The ones who are done are quiet, but their silence speaks louder than any interview ever could. And that really resonated with me. Because turning down money when your entire family was built on TV fame, that's gutsy. That's conviction. And apparently, according to a few inside reports, Some of them were offered money to come back, not small amounts either. We're talking $10,000 appearance fees for reunion specials, family reflections, and even reaction videos. But they turned it down. One source said they don't want to be part of a storyline anymore. That's powerful. Now, I'm not saying it's all moral or perfect. Everyone's got their reasons. Some left because of the pressure, some quit because they didn't like how they were represented, and some because they saw what fame was doing to the others and they wanted no part of it. But here's where the plot thickens. When those individuals left, production lost its grip on the narrative. They could no longer present both sides of the story. So instead, TLC relied on the ones who remained. The talkers, the performers, the ones who'd signed their devotion in ink. And that discrepancy shows. Viewers have noticed how one side of the family always gets the camera time, the sympathy, and the spotlight, while the other half slips into oblivion. Someone even said, TLC's not sharing a family story anymore. They're sharing a franchise story. The ones who remain are part of the business. You see what that implies? This isn't about reality TV anymore, it's about brand consistency. The family became a franchise. And being quiet became an act of rebellion. Now, here's the kicker: some of the people who walked away are still being watched. Not by fans, but by attorneys. Because, in those contracts, even when you leave, you can't publicly disparage the show or the cast for a specific amount of times, sometimes as long as 5 years. So, you can't speak, but everyone thinks you're keeping a secret. You can't defend yourself, but your silence is the news. Crazy, isn't it? But that's exactly why. In Part 5, we're exploring the fan theories, the ones that try to fill in the blanks, the whispers, the things no one on camera is brave enough to say. Because if TLC won't tell the truth, fans will. And some of those theories, they sound a little too real. Before we go there, I need to know what you're thinking. Do you admire the ones who left? Or do you think they're hiding something bigger from us? Because in the next section, we're opening up the comment sections. And let me tell you, the fans have receipts. Listen, you can silence the cast, but you can't silence the fans. And lately, fans have been piecing together things that even TLC would probably prefer to leave in the past. Because, let's be honest, the internet never forgets. And Reddit, that's where the detectives live. It all started with one poster user who went back through years of old interviews, podcast clips, and episode air dates. They laid them all out side by side, and what did they find? Every single time one of the talkers went on camera or did a tell-all interview, a new TLC episode dropped within 2 weeks. Every single time. Coincidence? Maybe. But viewers didn't think so. They started saying things like, TLC's using them for pre-show hype. They reveal just enough to get people mad, and then boom, the next episode answers it. And honestly, it works. Fans rush to see what happens next. It's a business model built on drama, but that's where it gets even crazier. Another fan did some digging, looking at who's liking whose posts, who's replying to shady comments, and who suddenly starts promoting new projects right after a big episode. And one Redditor posted, they're not just selling the show, they're selling themselves. Every tear, every quote, every whisper is a brand moment. That post went viral. When fans started tracking what they call the timeline theory pattern, suggesting that every emotional reveal, every public apology, even every online fight, lines up perfectly with filming schedules. And I'm telling you, once you see it, you can't unsee it. Now, some fans aren't angry, they get it. They say, it's showbiz, baby. They're just doing what TLC tells them to. But others feel betrayed. They want authenticity. They want the raw, messy family drama, not something that feels like a PR campaign. One user wrote something that stuck with me. We used to watch for their story. Now we're watching to see who's acting. Oof, that hurts, but it's true. And it's not just Reddit anymore. TikTok, Twitter, and fan podcasts are breaking down every frame of every episode, like crime scene analysts. They're connecting the dots between innocent family tweets and show scripts. The result? The line between what's real and what's produced has completely blurred. It's not about who's being real anymore, it's about who's getting paid to *look*real. And when fans called them out on it, what happened? You guessed it. More talkers, more statements, more clarifications. Because controversy creates buzz and buzz keeps the money flowing. But here's the thing no one saw coming. The fans might have been right all along. Because in a recent livestream, one of the talkers slipped up and admitted they were told what to focus on this season. They immediately tried to backtrack, saying, "Oh, I just mean emotionally, unhung, right, emotionally." So, now everyone is asking the same question. If the fans are piecing this together better than the producers are, how much longer can the family pretend it's all just a coincidence? Because the truth doesn't need a script, it just needs time. And in part 6, we're going to talk about the price of that truth or emotional, financial, and even physical toll this game has taken on every single person in this family. Because while money might make them talk, it might also be what's tearing them apart. Before we go there, leave a comment below. Are fans too invested, or are they finally uncovering what TLC doesn't want us to see? By now, you've seen the smiles, the brand deals, and the interviews, the picture-perfect posts. But behind all of that, behind every exclusive story and every paid appearance, there's a cost. And it's higher than any paycheck they've ever received. Because, let's be real, you can build a brand off your family without breaking something along the way. It started small. Missed birthdays, silent dinners, phone calls that used to end with "I love you," now end with "Do one talk about that on camera." And somewhere along the line between family and franchise just disappeared. An insider once said, they stopped living their lives and started producing them. Think about that for a second. Imagine knowing that any argument could become an episode. Any tear could be edited for ratings. Any apology could be scripted. That's not life. That's a contract. Speaking of contracts, the emotional cost isn't just in their heads. Some of them are contractually obligated to look happy, obligated not to badmouth the network, obligated to stay silent even to their own family members. Because if they break those rules, the network can withhold payments, cancel partnerships, or even sue for breach of confidentiality. It's business, not family. But what no one talks about is the burnout. You can see it in their eyes during interviews. That distant look when they re-ask the same question for the 100th time. You can hear it in the pauses between their words. The stiffness in their posture whenever someone mentions the show's name. Because honestly, the ones who tell their side don't always sound free. They sound tired. Like they've told the same story so many times, they don't even believe it anymore. And the money, as big as it seems, doesn't fix that kind of exhaustion. Juno. Behind every reality TV smile, there's often a story the cameras don't show. Gossip is swirling that some cast members have had to take social media breaks for mental clarity, while others have quietly confessed they don't even watch the show anymore. Too hurtful, they say, too staged, but every new season they come back. Why? Because quitting isn't an option when your name is the brand. A source close to production once said, they can't stop now. They've built entire lives around being watched. And that's the real cost of their truth, when being honest costs more than playing the part. So while fans debate who's lying and who's loyal, the reality is, they're all paying a steep price, in privacy, in peace, and in relationships that might never fully heal. The real tragedy. Some of them won't realize the price they've paid until it's far too late. Because when the cameras stop rolling, the brand deals dry up, and the audience moves on. What's left? Silence, regret, and a name they can't escape. Now, things are about to get really interesting. While everyone loves to point fingers at the kids, or even Cody, the true power isn't sitting at the family dinner table. It's behind boardroom doors. Let's talk about the network, the unseen hand that dictates every word, every scene, every single angle of this family's story. You see those raw emotional moments on TV and think they just happened, right? Think again. Multiple insiders have claimed those real moments are often the result of carefully crafted producer prompts, engineered to feel spontaneous. A former crew member even spilled, sometimes we'd hold filming, pull someone aside, and say, "Hey, can you bring that up again, but with more anger this time?" That's not life, that's television. And for this family, that line blurred a long, long time ago. When you sign that contract, you're not just giving up your privacy. You're giving the network editorial control over your emotions. You give them the power to shape how millions of people see you. Think about it. You could be the calmest person in the room, but with one clever edit, one dramatic music cue, you're suddenly the villain. And the worst part, you can't defend yourself. You can't even talk about it. The same contract that pays your bills also puts a muzzle on you. So when fans ask, why don't they just leave? Or why don't they tell the truth? It's not that simple. They can't. They're locked in with non-disclosure agreements and loyalty clauses that can last for years, even after the show ends. And all the while, the network keeps cashing in on reruns and syndication deals. The stars, they might see a tiny piece of that, if they're lucky. There are whispers that for reruns on streaming services, some cast members get nothing. The network keeps it all forever. It's like selling your life story once, and then someone else profits from your pain for the next 40 years. But here's the twist most viewers miss. The network allegedly has a rotating PR strategy. As public opinion shifts, they re-edit the narrative. They decide who the hero is, who the victim is, and who's the bad guy, season by season. One season, we feel for the wives. The next, we're meant to pity Cody. Then, it's the kids' turn. It's a masterclass in manufactured drama, and the family members are just pawns in the game. And here's the sinister part, some of them know it. They know they're being played. They know the producers script the fights. And yet, they stay. Because at this point, leaving doesn't mean freedom. It means starting over from scratch. That's the network's true power. It doesn't just control the show. It controls the fear of losing it. And that fear is worth its weight in gold. Let's talk numbers, because at the end of the day, every argument, every tear, it all comes back to one thing. Who's actually getting paid? What most fans do and realize is that the money in this family is unjust distributed. Unevenly, it's engineered to create conflict. You've got some members on a main cast salary, getting guaranteed paychecks and episode bonuses. And then you have others on a day rate. That means they only get paid if they appear in an episode. If they're cut from the final edit, they get nothing. Now, think about that. Wouldn't that instantly change how you act on camera? Wouldn't you be tempted to stir up a little conflict just to make sure you stay relevant? Exactly. It's a system designed to keep them hungry, which keeps the show dramatic. It gets messier. Allegedly, some family members don't even negotiate their own contracts. Their deals are bundled, meaning one person, usually a parent, negotiates for a group. So if that person plays favorites, well, you can guess who gets the biggest slice of the pie. The network protects this system with ironclad confidentiality clauses. So siblings can't even discuss what they earn. But you can see the disparity, can't you? In the houses, the cars, the lifestyles. Some are living comfortably, and others ... Not so much. A Reddit thread with thousands of upvotes suggested some family members might make as little as $2,000 to $3,000 per episode, while the main players could be pulling in $250,000 to $400,000 per season. That's not a gap, it's a canyon. And over the years, that financial canyon has created an emotional one. Resentment builds. Some feel they built the brand but are underpaid. Others feel they're being used for content without fair compensation. What happens next? Cryptic Instagram posts, tell-all podcast interviews, and passive-aggressive comments. They're talking, but they can't say everything without breaking their contracts. One source even hinted that some of the sibling drama we re-seeing is about personal issues. It's about paychecks. It's business disguised as a family feud. And the network loves it. The more conflict, the more online buzz, the more ad revenue. Every fight is an investment. So now, this is where it all starts to crumble. After the cameras turn off and the paychecks are cashed, what's left? A family that might not even be a family anymore. Some of them are done. Done with being told what to say. Done with pretending everything's fine. You can see it in their social media, the distance, the quiet unfollows, the forced smiles that don't reach their eyes. This isn't just drama anymore. It's genuine disconnection. And for some, it's decision time. Do they walk away from the show, the money, the fame, the life they've built? Or do they stay and continue trading their truth for a salary? Because leaving means freedom, but it also means losing everything the show gave them. And staying means living in a script someone else wrote for you, on an endless loop. You can feel it coming, can't you? Someone is about to make a move. A quiet exit, a contract not renewed, a public statement that will change everything. And rumor has it, the network already knows who it is. They're just waiting for the perfect episode to drop the bombshell. Because remember, this isn't just a family. It's a brand. And brands don't die, they evolve. Maybe someone's already planning a solo project. Maybe another is writing a tell-all book. Or maybe, just maybe, one of them is ready to blow the lid off the entire operation. Imagine that. One truth, one revelation, and the whole house of cards comes tumbling down. The lines are so blurred now, even they might not know if they're in it for love or for the money. We're left to wonder, who will have the first word, who will get the last laugh, and who is already being paid to stay silent. One thing is for sure, this story is far from over. So, let me know in the comments, if you were in their shoes, would you walk away from the money for peace of mind? Or would you play the game for one more season? Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.